Okay, it says we're live. We'll see if that's true or not. How's everybody doing tonight? Got a few people already on. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you joining. So, we're going to be doing a little bit of a contest slash giveaway tonight. So, we'll talk about that in a little bit and get some people a chance to get online here. If you want to type in the chat, say hello, please feel free to do so. And we'll get conversing a bit and see how everybody's doing. Around our area, I mean, a lot of people are on spring break. I don't know if you've got that going on in your world as well, but a lot of traffic reduction this week, which is nice. that's that's always a good thing. Oh, I got my Abbey Road shirt on. I need to. There we go, Abbey Road Studios. I don't know why everything looks backwards, but I guess going through Facebook, things go backwards. I guess. Everybody just confirm you could hear me. I'd appreciate it. I guess you can. My topic tonight. Well, one of the topics, of course, is we're going to have a little contest for hitting 2,000 subscribers, which is going to be fun. And thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Small Axe, all of you. Great. Thanks for the feedback to let me know. Um, so, um, so one of the things I want to talk about a little bit is the I don't know if you all saw the video that Noble Records had. Dylan from Noble Records. He put up a video about, basically talking about the price of vinyl and the what they pay for buying it through wholesalers and versus the price that they sell. So, cheers, Safford. Yeah. So, I thought it was pretty interesting, it being about I don't know, about a 20-25% markup, so to speak, from what they pay the wholesaler versus, what they charge for the MSRP or what they suggest the price should be. But, one of the things that you always think about is there's, give backs and problems with records and returning them. They have issues doing that, and so they sometimes have some loss there, and then records that don't turn well, and then they've got to reduce them to clear them out. So it's a tough thing. Thanks, Zeb. So it's I'm sure, I think, I'm guessing the profitability may be higher on the used stuff when they buy a collection and they pay a flat price, and then there's some gems in that. And maybe a few of those gems can get them back what they paid for the lot, and then everything else is a gravy from there. But yeah, hello, Elliot. Glad to see you guys on. And we got 16 people. That's great. So so what we're going to do as soon as we get a quorum, so to speak, on, we'll have our contest and giveaway, as I'm trying to call it more, for the channel. Um, I think the prize is an interesting one, maybe a little bit of a surprising one, and that's good because I wanted to make this different. I mean, I know a lot of the contests that we do. Hey, Chance, how you doing, bud? Uh, you have to do a video, which is fun, and I mean, but it takes time. We all, have time. It's a precious commodity in life, of course. Thanks, Jason Rojas. So, I figured let's do this. Let's have a little interactive, and we'll do it right during the live stream and kind of button it up, get it done with, and move on. And I just wanted to try to look at it from a different way of doing things. Just viva la difference. And small acts, yeah, record stores, yeah, yeah, it is something. And Elliot, I know you've had some experience there. It takes a long time to start to make any profit. Yeah, it can certainly can be. I mean, you've got the fixtures of the if you're doing brick and mortar. Now, if you're doing online, at least, your cost footprint is typically a lot less, of course. So there's that aspect of it too. So it kind of depends, which way you're going to go. But, the bigger stores, it's all about volume. That's what they've got to do. Oh yeah, VD in the VC. Watch you while. Yeah, we was talking about that the other night on Concert Buddy's stream about his new investment program, the Bernie Madoff 2, the sequel kind of thing. I think Bernie Madoff with a lot of people's money is what I always say about it. But it's funny. I was thinking about having subscribers and meeting people and kind of going through this process, and then right before the going live, I saw this quote from Rodney Dangerfield. He said, my fan club died. My fan club was shut down. The one guy died." So that's so at least I'm not in that book. Hello, Music Sanctuary. How you doing? Thanks very much. I appreciate it, guys. Um, yeah. So it's been fun. It's an adventure. Um, what I really enjoy is comments. When people have comments and you get back and forth. And I got a guy that's in Fort Worth that I've met through there who's going to be coming later in the month down to Dallas, and we'll hook up and meet. And then he's in Japan right now, so he's going to look for a few records for me. So it's really cool when you can make these relationships and get to know people. That's really a huge benefit. So we got 24 people. Thanks very much. And Traded in a $60 record. Store only gave me 20 for it. It hurt, but I found some good used records at my local store. Wow. Yeah, that would hurt a bit. Um, that would definitely hurt a bit. So, yeah, I don't have the ability in this direct YouTube stream to highlight comments. I'm not using StreamYard tonight. So apologies for that, but I'll try to keep up with you guys. Yeah, it's the deal of the century, Elliot says about his VD for his V. Yeah, okay. Well, at least it's not the VD you're thinking of. It's Elliot. You've got all the materials on that. You can definitely move forward. I'd say there's plenty of diseases in the VC already, so I'm not sure if it's a great idea, but some are virtual, some are actual, I guess. But so yeah, running a store, doing that. One of the big stores here in Dallas is called Josie Records, and they're actually opening a new store in McKinney, which is north of Dallas, more of a high-end community near Frisco. Frisco up here has really grown a lot, and they're actually just approved last week putting a Universal Studios theme park there in Frisco, Texas. So they've got a minor league baseball team there from the Texas Rangers. They've got a soccer team, and so I mean that's a real big growing area, and that's going to bring in some big tax resources to that community once they get that built, and then moving in terms of that's just going to be more traffic, of course, more infrastructure, but there's just a lot of growth in this area as it relates to DFW, and the same thing south of us in Austin, San Antonio. That area is becoming kind of like a little metroplex too, because almost all of the area between San Antonio and Austin is getting filled in with businesses, homes, companies. A lot of big companies moving to the Dallas area. Toyota moved a lot of its stuff from California here. So that's when you have really low tax footprint, that makes a difference. But we pay it in other ways. We pay it in property taxes and other things like that. So anyway, so let me check out a couple of things here real quick. The phone's going off. Let me just shut that up. Let me see. Yeah, I guess I can't really do a share like I thought. So what I'm gonna do is when I get into the contest here, I'm gonna be giving you the kind of the rules and what we're gonna do. I'd say you might want to have a a pad and a pencil there. Hey, the X file, how you doing? A pad and a pencil, or a keyboard and a blank Word document or something, because I'm going to give you some clues in a relatively short period of time, and you'll need to jot them down and then see if you can come up with an answer to what those clues are about, essentially. So just give you a little heads up to be ready for it, um, because that's kind of how it's going to roll. And hopefully we get a winner out of the gate and don't have to add more clues to the 12 I start out with. And it'll be a little bit of fun, and we'll have somebody win, and maybe have something that I'm pretty sure what you would win with this you absolutely do not have. I'm very confident in saying that. So we'll see. We'll see how that transpires. So um, we'll get into that in about probably 15 minutes or so, and let's see what Elliot's got to say. With a 100 record collection, usually only 3 to 4 were 20 or more, and a fourth of the records will be worth 5 to 10. A quarter are worthless. The rest are 3 to 4. Okay. Yeah, I've never bought a collection. I've never bought any to sell. Um, uh, I mean, I've bought individual records that I have duplicates of, and then I've sold some of the duplicates, maybe upgrading and that kind of thing, but never just said went and bought a box of records and took that crapshoot. Hello, Doc K. How are you doing? So, who knows? Um, uh, that I guess I'm looking at the low end side of that, and having to get rid of some of them, and some of them aren't worth having. And I was talking to a store owner here the other day, who's actually going to open up another store. It's like a coffee shop and a vinyl place, and it's a good model. He's near college, so there's a lot of young people that come in there, which is great. But man, his records in my mind are overpriced by 30% or more. I mean, it's really crazy. So, oh, Jason, don't tell anybody. Ping booster for the OJCs. Okay. You know what they say? It doesn't mean a thing if you ain't got that ping. Wow. Yeah, I remember that. That whole discussion. I think that was probably based on, wasn't it Chad's issue with Exodus getting in there, and or no, it was actually Maslow's thing. That's right. It was Maslow's thing that started that with that first auction that he had. So yeah, there's a lot of variables. All I can say is, if you're an IT person and if you go into a DOS prompt on a PC and you look at what's called trace route, and you watch all the different switches that you got to go through, a lot of those variables have a lot more to do with what you're getting than anything else. So some of it has to do with your ISP and everything else. So, hello, Chilled Pint. Thanks. Appreciate that very much. I really do. Record stores make it hard to buy from them sometimes, like you said. Yeah, way overpriced usually. Yeah. And then you get places like Half Price Books, and they'll go, you bring them a box of records. This is from other people telling me. I've never done it. And, they'll take 2 hours or 3 hours to go look at it. You have 100 records and they'll offer you $20 or something. It's like, and so, if you want to just get rid of them and get a few bucks to buy a lunch or a dinner, okay, then maybe that's your thing. But a lot of people don't know what they have. I mean, I ran across a guy who he was selling a brand new Fluence turntable And it turned out his wife had passed away at Christmas, and he had bought it for her for Christmas. Kind of a sad story. And so I mean, it was still in the box, never opened, and he, he knocked about $100 off of it, and I bought it. And he said he had her old records and that kind of thing. And I said, well, let me help you look at them at least to see if they have any value, or what you might do with them, because he was just going to give them to Goodwill and walk away. And so I was going to meet with him last week, and then he texted me and said, my grandkids came over and they said they'd like to have it just as a remembrance of her. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, keep it. That's better than at least it'll have some meaning to somebody. So but I, like I said, I really just wanted to help the gentleman, maybe get a little something, or see if there was anything in it worth having, that even I might want to pay more for because it was well kept or whatever. So 34. Okay. That's Elliot saying buying someone else's records, figure about 34% of what they would sell for retail. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you get a box, then you really, if you're just going to lump it in together, that's one thing. But if you're going to go through it and try to, evaluate the value of it, and that takes some time too. So I don't know. That's not part of collecting that I really, you know, have a lot of time for, or really care about that much. So, well, it looks like we've tapped out at, I'll say, 32 people. So 31 now. So let me get something going here. So what I'd like to do is, if you guys are ready, hello, hi there. Not bad for a baby boomer. Thanks, Dr. Lund. I appreciate that. Yeah, an old baby boomer, right? Yeah. Ah, Jeff, you're in Maryland. Great. Thanks very much. I appreciate that, Jeff. Yeah, I've been really enjoying what I do when I do it, and like I said, the feedback and the comments are really the fun part to me. If you pay much more than half of the retail worth, you're taking a big risk of not making anything, or not making anything for a long, long time. Yeah. Hey, Gregory, how are you? Yeah, I mean, do you want to have all of this stuff just laying around or whatever? Do you want to? I mean, it's, if you want to turn it, then you really got to be smart about it. And the less you pay, then maybe the less you'll have to charge for it. And people are always looking for a deal. I think that's kind of a universal truth, right? As I see it, it's pretty much a universal truth. All right, let me see here. Okay, all right. Record store the other day, and they had an OG of Rush moving pictures. Jacket was okay. Record looked like it had been to a party or three. Wanted $65. I chuckled and walked away. Yeah, I saw Melinda Murphy had a video today or yesterday, whatever. I saw it today about some overpriced records she saw in a store, and she showed examples of them. And it was pretty ridiculous because some of them were reissues that you could get new, and some of these were already opened, and they were more than what people were asking retail for the sealed version. So it just kind of seems crazy. Hello there, Michael. How are you? Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Drew, on the quality of modern pressings, it is really, it's really a crapshoot. I mean, to be honest with you, it's funny. You can, like, a couple of really great pressings that I bought last year that were just kind of standard pressings, like War's Greatest Hits, cut by Kevin Gray, and then the Rick. I knew I was going to do this. What's the guy's name? Hang on, let me grab the album. It'd be easier. Chris Isaac. I'll show it. I think that's even easier. This one, Chris Isaac's Heart Shaped World, not Cold Heart World. And this is an RSD Essential. And this thing, it sounds unbelievable. I mean, just there's no other word for it. If you find that one, his voice is really unique. It's kind of like a Roy Orbison kind of voice, but really a great, uh, I don't know, rich, deep voice, and the mics that they use and the arrangements just really work so well together. At least on this album, and that is a sonically one of the best albums I bought in a long time. Just for retail, not an audiophile. But other albums. One thing I would say when you buy an album, open it, clean it, and play it, and see what you got, so you can return it or get an exchange if you have a problem. I think keeping them, and sometimes that's a problem I have. I'll buy a few and then I'll wait to open them, and then now luckily I really haven't gotten stiffed, but you can, and the quality is just all over the place. It's unfortunate. Yeah, a lot of people don't clean their records. You're right, and then you've got to deal with that. That's another piece of overhead. Oh, second round of Bill Evans. Do you mean Drew the box set from Analog Productions? Um, I'm assuming that's what you mean. And I know there were some issues. A guy in Europe got hold of me. Captain Phoenix, I think was his name, and tried to work through getting some exchanges. I think they eventually did. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think RTI pressed that. Yeah, I did not do the giveaway yet. It's really hard to watch. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Homer, just because I'm on screen, or yeah, Drew, kind of wishing. Yeah, I mean, when you get into that many, transactions back and forth, it gets a little wearing, and that's the thing with the box. You have so many, your chances of having a bad record are, times X. Great, Elliot. Yeah, he was just in the Carolinas last year, and a friend of mine saw him, Kevin Baker, and you know, yeah. Hey, Prime Analog, how you doing? He would have been Elvis before Elvis. Yeah, well, like I said, he just. But to be honest with you, I've heard um, the track on there that is, so popular, um, and and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm really having a Chris Isaac blank out tonight. I don't know why, but I'm just blanking out on Chris Isaac. By the way, that is a white vinyl record, by the way, on Sun. Wicked Games. Yeah. So I've heard that record. I think I heard it actually on a Netflix show uh, called Goliath, I think. And so the song was familiar to me. So, but for me, his voice is just alluring. It's just very spooky in a way. So anyway, so all right. Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. If you guys, as I said earlier, and I'll repeat, if you get a paper and pencil, because there's going to be some clues I'm going to give you, and you probably need to jot them down, I would imagine, and maybe kind of put the puzzle together in terms of what this topic is about, and and then we can go ahead and see if we get a winner on this. So the Billy Bob Thornton Show, yes, Elliot, exactly. I really liked that show a lot. He's got a band. He's performed here locally a few times in the past few years. Ready to jot, David says. Okay. So what I got to do here, because unfortunately this method doesn't allow me to share a screen like StreamYard does, so there's a disadvantage with that. But I'll get my stuff together here. All right. So okay, we're going to Silence of the Lambs. Oh, Chris Isaacs. Oh, really? Okay. I forgot about that. Wow. Forgot about that. Hmm. There we go. It's always something, right? Okay. So what we've got is the way this is going to work. Um, as I said, I've announced this through the live stream, through the lead up to this with the video, and the approach that I'm going to use. I'm going to tell you here. Um, in this case, the prize here is going to be a physical item. So my rules say if a contest prize is a physical item that must be shipped, the item can only be shipped to the U.S. or Puerto Rico. If the winner is outside this territory, an alternate prize of similar value may be provided through electronic means. In some circumstances where the winner is outside the territory, I may offer the opportunity for the winner to pay for the cost of the difference between shipping to the approved territory above versus the location of the winner. This is possible at the winner's request and at my discretion at the channel. So let's say you lived in Britain and you said, yeah, I really want that prize. And shipping in the US was $6 and shipping to Britain was $18. Then you'd pay $12 if you wanted it. That's basically what I'm saying there in a nutshell. So decisions made for determining the winner are final, decided by the channel, and we reserve the right to make public the winner's YouTube ID only and announcing the winners of the contest. And YouTube is not a sponsor of this in any way. And we have to all release YouTube from any liability related to this contest. And the channel will not distribute or sell any information related to contestant participants. While some personal information may be required to verify a winner and or provide winnings, this will be used for the sole purpose of this contest and will not be retained without the express consent of the participant. So, getting all that BS out of the way, but I want to make sure I'm trying to stay legal here. Let's get into what the game is. So what the answer to this quiz will be a title, and it will be the title of a movie and or a soundtrack. So think movie, and it may have a soundtrack. I'm going to provide you 12 clues in sequence and give you about 10 seconds or so to write each of them down. The first person to type the correct title of the movie in the comment/chat wins. Now, when you type it, the title must be the full title and must be spelled correctly, just to make a point. And if no one guesses based on the first clues, I will provide additional clues until we have a winner. All right. Let's see if I have any other chats. Can you answer early? It's going to be whoever the first person that has the answer in the feed that I see that puts in the right title and types it properly and spells it correctly will be the winner, regardless of when that is. So, and can you try more than once? Yes, you can. All right. Need my high speed ping. Well, put it in overdrive. Here it comes. I'm going to start giving you the clues. Get ready. Get set. Go. The first clue is the word chemstrand. 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 The second clue is Horace. HORACE. The third clue is, in quotes, a smile to keep, and then February 1964. We have a winner. Wow, that was faster than I thought. Yeah, Concert Buddy, that thing you do, that is from there. So Chemstrand was the name of the ad on the TV show that had Troy Chesterfield as the host. Horace was the last name of the manager that they got that took him in the back of that little RV kind of thing. And a smile to keep, February 64, was a sign on the in the dentist's office when Tina Powers went in there and she saw that tall, good-looking dentist and forgot about the drummer. So fabulous. That's I'm glad that you won. Yeah, he's missing the exclamation point. You're right. I thought about that, but you know, I don't want to be called something badly. So, what do you win? So, was there a soundtrack to this, by the way? I don't know. Was there a soundtrack? I've got a soundtrack on CD, but Chance just won a soundtrack on vinyl of this album. Well, Mongo, you have to go watch that movie. It's great. So, this is so let me tell you how this was done and what I'm going to do. Chance, do you have this on CD, by the way? I'm just curious if you have it on CD. You do not. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you a CD of it both, because what I did is I got this cut by a place that does custom records, and they cut them on their own lathe, and they do it as a backup method to a license that you have. So as long as you have a CD of it, it's legal to have this. So I'll send you a CD with it as well, and then there'll be everything's kosher at that point. But yeah, we got the labels made exactly like the Playtone, and the back cover. These were not cheap, but I got extras made because it brought the price down, per record. So how many did I have pressed? I think I had 5 pressed. I think I had 5. The other guy had 2, and I think there was a price break after 6. So we got them. It was a little bit less. I mean, it wasn't a lot less, but it was definitely worth doing. So so yeah. Now in all honesty, of course, what they did is they took the CD wave files to produce this. So are they still operating? Yeah, they are. I can get you guys the information on this, and I'll put it in the comments in the description of this live feed when it goes up, and I'll put where I got that at. So I thought that was kind of a different thing to do, doing it live, and then also giving giving something that you really couldn't just go watch over the counter, so to speak, or get over the counter. The Occasions came to mind. I'm a girl watcher. I remember that one. I think that was on Dynavoice Records, and it was produced by Bob Cruz, I think, if I remember right. Now I'm going back in my memory bank here, and but that's what I recall. How did he? I don't know. Somebody who's watched that movie a lot. I mean, I've watched that plenty of time. Shrimp. Yeah, I didn't even use that one because that everybody kind of knows that one. Let me tell you what some of the other clues were, just for grins and giggles. Uh, Abby, give me the rub. That was boss Vic Koss, who told his assistant when he was in the green room before going out to rub his neck. And then I had the Wolf Man, and that was the guy who came in to play bass for the guy who was going into the military that got stuck on a rides at Disneyland with some other guys from the military. And then Chesterfield, that was the host of that show that had the Chemstrand, Troy Chesterfield. Dining and Dancing $2 cover, that was the sign outside Villa Piano's spaghetti place where they first played after they played in the high school contest. Luke 21:19, that was a Bible verse that was espoused by the bass player to the guy who was doing the recording in the church. Koss is the last name of Vic Boss Koss. Tina Powers is the name of the blonde who was the girlfriend of the drummer. And Patterson's was the name of the store. That was also the drummer's last name, Guy Patterson. And then Vicksburg was the last one, which is what um, Boss Koss Voss said when he was talking about Pittsburgh, Vicksburg. He was just kind of getting his voice tuned up. So, right, anyway. So, what we got going here? Girl Watcher's a different song. Google is your friend. I'm a girl watcher. I'm a girl watcher, right? Watching girls go by. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'm thinking of when it hits. Start a record label to coincide with the film. Yeah, Playtone. But it really, it's a fictitious record label. It's a fictitious record label, actually. But it was under Epic Records, is what it was under. But yeah, and it was they took them on a tour. There was a, if you go on YouTube, they went to Japan and actually played. The band did, and Hanks went with them, so that was kind of cool. So you can see that on YouTube. So Drew's getting ready to have some Exodus. Sanford played in a few bands. Yeah. Local trivia night starting in April. Okay. Well, that was, like I said, that's one of my favorite movies. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, you should. But if you've seen it, you definitely need to see the extended cut, which is like 2.5 hours. It has a lot of scenes that aren't in the original. And there are some revelations that you understand some things better because of the extended cut. So if you like the movie, get the extended cut because it's really worth having for sure. The Oneaters, yeah, the Oneaters, yeah, yeah. So Exodus is almost on par with Rastaman. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you guys a little insight. And I think, Chance, I sent you an email on this earlier. I forwarded it. You can still get Rastaman and Exodus through toughgong.com for 125 bucks. So you need to email them. I think it's sales at toughgong.com. They've still got a few copies left. FYI, just thought I'd let you know. Uh, so, yeah, what? 155 with shipping. Okay. 156 with shipping. Okay. Well, that's still a relatively good deal for something that's not available. So you heard it here. I don't know if you heard it here first, but you heard it here. So um, so there's another advantage to being a subscriber. You got to hear that. The whole email address is sales at toughgong, TUFFGONG.com. Let me double check, but that's what I sent it to, and I think that's what they responded with. I'm sorry, it's toughgongmusic.com. I apologize. Toughgongmusic.com. So there you go. So you send them an inquiry, they send you an email back, and then you send an order with the information. Yeah, I think they do ship from Miami. Yeah, I think you're right. So, well, great. Well, that was good, and it was good to kind of get it done in the sense of going ahead and having the contest and being done with it. So, Chance, I think I've got your address, but I'll coordinate with you sending that to you, and What are some of the high marks or high points of my first year on YouTube? Well, I think, obviously a high point for me was going to Acoustic Sounds, Analog Productions, QRP, meeting Chad, getting to know Chad. So that was a high point. The MoFi thing, obviously, I can remember it so vividly. I had seen a video by Michael 45 at first that talked about maybe something like this. And I had heard some buzzing about this the week before from someone I trust. And then when Mike Esposito came out with his, I can remember I looked at my wife and I go, I got to do a video on this because I mean, I've been buying their stuff since 77 and it really sticks in my craw if all of a sudden this is happening. And that was my episode 21. And, it just kind of flowed. I knew how I felt about it and what I, was able to share. And it just seems like, honestly, the MoFi type related stuff and analog production stuff is really what gets the most views. I mean, something like interviewing Susan Rogers, who was, the engineer for Prince. I mean, that was really a high point too, and it was really great, and I really enjoy her a lot. And yet, it didn't get a lot of views, and it's, I don't know if it's the algorithm or what. And I, even put in, Prince in the, the hashtag Prince, but yeah, don't get me started with MoFi. Yeah, so. I don't get it sometimes. Some of the ones I like the best that I worked on, or I have the least amount of views. I think, and I've heard others say that as well. That happens. Controversy seems to be, the one common thing that drives all of this. When there's some kind of controversy going on, you definitely seem to pick things up in that regard. I like doing shootouts a lot because it's very interesting to me. I picked up a phono stage the other day called a Graham C Special Edition, SEE, out of Britain. Audiophile friend of mine made me aware of it. And he said, yeah, if you ever seen one of these used, pick one up. And he said, oh, go look at this place called usaudioMart.com. And we went on there, and sure enough, there was one for sale in Dallas for $200. And this thing's, I think, $500 normally. And I went and picked it up, and man, it really made a difference compared to like a shit Manny preamp. It really, really enhanced the sound of my system quite a bit. So, it's interesting. And, you meet people. This guy I met, and he's been a real great resource for me through the months and years since I started, like on the MoFi stuff and the legal stuff. And it's amazing. And then you meet up with people sometimes in another place that Stunty I met up with in Sweden, for example. These things are just part of being invested in it a little bit and just taking a chance, and no pun intended, concert buddy. And I guess a guy named Chance should win a lot of things now that I think about it. I think the fix is in on Chance. What do you guys think? Yeah, you need to email them first. Yes, it does. Yeah, I agree. Oh, okay. Prime Analog is running a contest of his own. Thanks for letting me know. I need to check that out. Um, so, really for me, the biggest gain has been, meeting people and getting to know people, and people with similar interests, and, giving some insight, being old. I mean, it's funny. Uh, I was pulling out, and Chance said we're going to see how long we can go without talking about the Beatles. It's been 45 minutes, so I was pulling out some, my old Beetle 45s. This is an old G. I saw her standing there, and I want to hold your hand. 5112 is the number on this baby, because I remember those because you used to see these spinning. This is my original that I bought when it came out. and how many hits the Beatles had on flip sides. But they were on some labels before they got onto Capitol. This is a label out of Philadelphia called Swan that had "She Loves You" and "I'll Get You" on the backside. I've actually got two of those records, but anyway. So a couple of labels picked up their stuff before they got signed on to Capitol and became big. Here's Tolly was a label in the Northeast too, Twist and Shout, and There's a Place. So the Beatles had a lot of songs that were hits on two sides, and then in the UK they had actually EPs, and those babies had two songs per side. So you know, um, kind of broke apart everything, that all the paradigms about A sides and B sides. They really kind of, everything they touched seemed to turn to gold. PS Audio has a sale this month, half off all vinyl. Really? Wow, they have some direct to disc kind of stuff, I think, that they've done. So that's good to know. Thanks, Drew. I appreciate that. Yeah, very much. Paul's great. Paul, very uh, a lot of knowledge, and he can speak in a very non-technical way. He can be technical too, but I mean, he can. It's not all just total geeky. It's all DSD. I know it is. Yeah, and he's made his case for DSD. Um, you know, he didn't lie to us. We will not name. Yeah. Thanks, Loki To. Thanks. I really appreciate that. That's humbling to hear. I hope yeah, I have added to it. I certainly have gotten from it as well. So it's been great. But yeah, Paul, yeah, he's been straight, and he explains his thinking on that and where he's at. And as I said in a recent video, preservation of the information on tapes is important. And so, you know, they used to do it, back in the day, they'd make a copy onto tape, a tape from a tape when things were wearing out. So, it's not like that's unheard of. It definitely was being done. And some of the things that are original tapes are really, maybe second copies, because the original was, the oxide was wearing off or whatever. So, you as time goes on, as I said in that video, time is not our friend when it comes to tape. It's not our friend when it comes to our bodies either. But thanks, Jason. I appreciate you joining. Thanks very much. One of a kind album. Yeah. Capitol Records rejected the Beatles initially. Yeah, that's exactly right. So so that, I Want to Hold Your Hand came on the radio. I think it was in LA on the Christmas Eve of '63, and that's kind of what really kicked it off. And the pressing plants were pushed into high production volume, just before New Year's, because it just took off so much. Um, but yeah, I believe honestly, guys, and living through that time, I believe very firmly that when the Beatles hit here in the U.S., we had just had, not even, just barely a month prior to that, the assassination of President Kennedy. And that music kind of turned a page and kind of put that a little bit in the rear view mirror. And I think the psyche of the country was so ready for something to change the subject and to wash away the sorrow, that it was just timing in that regard too, I think. So yeah, they had the top five positions. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it definitely is the truth that really was something that brought the country together. Um, I remember so well the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and it reminded me of what 4 years later when the men landed on the moon. everybody's sitting glued to their television. Well, when the Beatles came on, it was kind of the same thing, and and I'm like, why are all those girls screaming? I want to listen to the music. I can't hardly hear the music, kind of thing. But it was a great time when I was in the UK here recently. I took a tour, which I've got to finish my video on, of the Beatles and where they filmed A Hard Day's Night and the train station and the areas they lived in and things like that. It was really interesting. A guy that Mazzy knows, who he told me about, who I met up with there, and he does tours. That's all the guy does. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I would like to brag that I saw them on it, so I watched pretty much every Sunday, but honestly don't remember seeing them. I was 5. Yeah, I was 7, I think. Yeah, 7. Yeah. So, yeah, I remember it. I mean, I was into records at the time. I had already started buying like Ricky Nelson records, and so I remember I still have those first records I bought, and so a lot. It seems like a lot of my recollection of a lot of things is around my records and my music. So that's just the way it was. I struggle to connect with the Beatles. I go back every now and then in hopes to resonate, but no dice. Okay, Drew. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I can see that, especially. I don't know what kind of music you like, but Beatles music. I mean, a lot of Beatles songs are literally 2 minutes or less, or very close to 2 minutes, which is, you barely start to get into it and it's over. But, that was kind of part of the formula at the time. Radio stations liked shorter songs so that they could fit more music into, an hour or whatever. So, um, yeah, and some of it is, there's definitely a you had to been there piece. But a lot of my daughters, I got a couple daughters that really love the Beatles and get into them, and so. But to be honest, they heard them a lot when they were kids because I was playing them, right? Hey Jude was 7 minutes and 11 seconds. You are right. One of the longest 45s ever. As a matter of fact, there were some record changers that rejected or pulled up the needle before it actually finished. So, um, yeah. Well, Drew, yeah, I can understand, just maybe one day it'll click, who knows? Have I heard any of the bootleg Beatles concert? Yes, I have. Yep, I have. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I can understand them being frustrated. It's doesn't make for you go to a concert now and it's even people that they'll sing with the musician, and I get it, but it's kind of like if I'm sitting next to you, I didn't come here to listen to you sing this. Frankly, no pun, no offense intended, but that kind of drives me nuts too. So yeah, it was crazy. It was literally crazy. As a matter of fact, if you look in A Hard Day's Night as they're running down the sidewalk toward the train station, I think it's George that trips and falls and almost gets run over. So you know, Elliot, you didn't start appreciating jazz until I was in my 60s, and hopefully you'll have a long life. Yeah, explore all kinds of years. Yeah, right. Yeah. If there was one Beatles record I need to hear, what is it? I don't own any on vinyl. Well, there's part of me that says Sergeant Pepper's in the sense that it was so different and it's kind of a concept album in a way. Um, you know, if the Magical Mystery Tour is a really decent album if you get the Horzu version, the actual stereo one. The US one sounds, 3 of the main songs sound like crap, so I wouldn't suggest that. But yeah. Oh, so okay. So it's that's a tough. Abbey Road to me is their quintessential best album, in my opinion, for me. I'm not a huge fan of the White Album. There's songs on there I like, but as a whole, for me, it could have been one record because I skip over a lot of songs on that one. Sergeant Pepper's, I play through. Abbey Road, I definitely play through. So if I was going to tell you which one I go to the most, it's probably Abbey Road, to be honest with you. Yep, you're right. Beatle ones have all the hits. You are right. If you want to get, their whole time, from the early days on, um, a lot of people are in the camp of I really like their older stuff, but don't like their newer stuff, kind of, or their original stuff, their early stuff. They like the latter stuff because it's a little more mature. The early stuff's it's very poppy, very short songs, very formulaic. So, Abbey Road and the White Album and Sergeant Pepper are more or richer, as are Rubber Soul and Revolver. But those were Rubber Soul and Revolver were kind of like their transitional albums to me. And then Sergeant Pepper kind of started the last phase of the Beatles, I would say. Yeah. So, oh, you grew up with Jazz Drew. Okay, I got you. Oh, Topo Gigio. Oh my gosh. I remember that little mouse. Let It Be. Um, I mean, it's in there, but I mean, for me, Abbey Road really has the individual song kind of thing on side A, and then it gets into more of a flow, inside on side two, with that culmination at the end. I mean, it just to me, it's a building kind of album. But jazz, I mean, I've never gotten into jazz to just sit and listen to it. I occasionally will listen to it. I have some, uh, because I really like to hear the musicality of it and the instruments and the separation and the live, vibe that it has. So I do appreciate that. And it's kind of like I do appreciate how classical can sound, but to sit and listen to it, I just, um, I want to say it bores me. I guess I don't know any other way to say it, but there's certain jazz that I really do like. I like a little bit of fusion jazz, um, so I mean, but jazz. My son-in-law's a jazz drummer. Ironically, in Vienna, he does he plays gigs there, and I'll go listen to him. And I enjoy again the musicality of it, but for me, just to sit and listen to it for any extended time, it really doesn't do a lot. So, optimal pressings of Red and Blue. Okay, Red and Blue being 62 to 66 and 67 to 70 albums, I think is what John's talking about, Bandy. Um, Beatles were there, Sarah, in our house, but I didn't love it. Yeah, that is a great. Yeah, you weren't familiar with Yesterday. That's interesting because that's been one of the most covered songs by anybody ever. So, but great. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, John. Yeah, he's talking about the 60. Yeah, and see that one's kind of like the ones. It's kind of similar, but it's four albums as opposed to two. There's more tracks on the ones as well. Um, but yeah, if you want to get kind of the impression of how they evolved, those albums definitely give you that for sure. Um, Monkeys TV show and got curious about the band they were based on. Yeah, Ice Cold Beverage. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a video on Mike Nesmith. Mike Nesmith I guess I have to say he passed, was a genius in a lot of ways. And some of those ways I don't know that people know as much about. A lot of people just know that he was a monkey. and don't know about his later work and his work in video and where the influences that he had. So that's one that I'm going to do because I want to do it for posterity. Uh, might not get a lot of views, but I really want to do that one because I know a lot about Mike Nesmith, met him once, and he really is someone that in over time I think people will come to appreciate more of what he contributed than maybe they know right now. So, hey Jude, Beatles again on Apple, yeah. Yeah, that's a great one. That was kind of one they put together to bring on to an LP songs that weren't included on some of the US cuts. I mean, it's a mess when you look at the US versus the UK pressings and their early product, where certain things were missing on UK, they were on US and vice versa. And then there was a rarities album also that came out that tried to fill the gap. There was a UK rarities which had what wasn't on the UK albums from the US and vice versa. So there were a lot of catalog fills that had to happen with it. So Chris Profi, no. Oh, great. I don't know that person, to be honest with you. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, Nez Solo, there's a let me just look at what it is. I've got it on my shelf, but I'll show you what it is. Um, if you can find the vinyl for this, get it. It is a fabulous sounding album, and and the songs are great as well. But I mean, it just is really well done. It's called Michael Nesmith, The Newer Stuff. You can find that. That's a great record, and you can get them on 18 of them for sale on Discogs starting at $6. So I mean, they're not expensive, but it's a really good sounding album, but some really great cuts from his later stuff. Um, he had a country phase that he did right after the Monkees with RCA, and he really was, one of the early guys to be, like the Eagles kind of Ronstadt. As a matter of fact, Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies, the song "Different Drum," Michael Nesmith wrote that actually. So he was into the country kind of a vibe, like Eagle-ish kind of thing, and then he moved a little more into the pop-ish when he started to get into the video, making videos, and he really was kind of the godfather towards MTV. He had worked towards starting a channel like that before MTV, so he really won the first Grammy for a video compilation with Elephant Parts. I had a TV series called Television Parts that was kind of like Elephant Parts. If you haven't seen Elephant Parts, it's hilarious. Really good stuff. So, and his mother invented liquid paper. Yes, she did. His mother invented liquid paper. So, yeah. And so he was. There you go, Nevada, and the hits just keep on coming. Our faves, yeah, those are good as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, he wrote a lot of different material. Cruising Ramona and Sunset Sam video. Yep, absolutely. That's yeah, he just a lot of like comedy kind of snippets and vignettes. He had one called Name That Drug, like name that tune. I could name that drug in two talks, you know. So uh thanks, Barry. Appreciate that. So yeah. Yeah, so he's somebody that just for me was a revolutionary, and he was a low key kind of guy. But no low key. I didn't say low key that guy. I meant low key, not low key toki. No. um, but yeah, and I think he did a lot more than most people recognize. And I think once you see his videos, you can't unsee them. Go on videoranch.com, and there's a Video Ranch a YouTube page also, and there are some hilarious videos on there. Some of which were taken from elephant parts, some from television parts. And there's one called Irish Language Lab that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So thank you, John. I appreciate that very much, sir. It's really good fun, good 2 to 5 minute humor snippets. Once you start watching them, and he had people on the television parts show when they were nobody. Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, Seinfeld, yeah. I had to think. Jerry Seinfeld, Arsenio Hall, um, Martin Mull. I mean, he had people on that show when they were just trying to break in. So he could spot talent, and I give him a. Arsenio Hall did a great thing about astronauts, and he says, "I know why there's not a black astronaut, because you imagine the guy saying yes NASA, no NASA, So uh, just stuff that, of course, stuff you couldn't get away with today, of course, right? That goes without saying, but really just had a really great sense of humor. One of the things he did toward the end of his life was you could do like a half hour Zoom chat with him, and I don't know, it was $50. I mean, it wasn't outrageous, and just talk to the guy. I mean, he kind of hated the monkeys and really shed that for a lot of years. But in his last 5 years, I think he became very reflective about it, and he embraced it. And he even went on tour there toward the end, because he didn't do the tours with them. He was always absent. So, it was really great to see him kind of, settle into it, and be that open to his fans. And I got a signed album by him, and so I mean, really, really, it's a shame. They all died too young, I guess, but he definitely left a mark with me. Does anyone notice the alarming lack of quality comedy movies? Yeah, they're pretty much not. Yeah, movies, and the whole thing with comedy and what you can say and get away with. Comedians are like, have to watch, what they say, and then the quote comedians like on late night, it's like all political, and it's like I want to watch this to not hear political. It's like I want to go to a concert to not hear political. I want to go to sports events to not hear all that stuff. That's my away time. I don't want to get embroiled in all that crapola. And whatever side you're on, doesn't matter. At that point, I just really want to enjoy something, to kind of change the subject. And it's just really crazy now. It really is. I just don't understand. There's people I don't agree with on a lot of topics, but I can get along with them, and that's great. And I think that's what we need to do. I mean, the only person I agree with totally is myself. I think everybody can say that. It's just the way it is. But so anyway, so yeah, Nez will definitely. Yeah, we lost that ability, Drew. It's unfortunate, and that's why I like the channel. It's kind of like I try to keep it low key and just say, hey, let's just talk vinyl. Let's keep focused on the good things that we like in life. And you didn't get canceled yet. Yeah. Marius Stark has some interesting videos on there, that's for sure. And it's coming. It's coming. Well, yeah, I think we just need to kind of chill a little bit and give each other the space, we need, and just shut off the things that, offend us, and just let it, don't let it sink in, Goes back to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It always goes back to that. Yeah, that's right. Peace and love. Peace and love. Yeah, that's what I like about Ringo. Ringo's always like peace. He's so focused, right? He just, that's, he just kind of centered in that regard. And other people like Jeff Lynne, they're just, they're really into their work and they're really into their craft and they just, get embroiled in all this other stuff. And, there's certain artists I just won't even bother to see because it's not, I'm not going to pay to get embroiled in that, right? And it just really, it's unfortunate, but it's part of life. I love almost everyone in the VC, almost. Well, I love them all and I pray for a few. Definitely pray for a few. But, uh, but the great thing about the VC and, just vinyl and music is how it bridges people together. And, that's the connection point that I really like about it. And I'll be the first one to admit I have a fairly narrow uh, like of music. What I like, I like, older music. I like 60s, 70s, 80s, a little bit of 90s, and the newer stuff. I mean, there's some newer bands that I like a lot. I like Mute Math, which was an indie band out of New Orleans. Bad Sons is like a pop band. I do like some of the new bands, but but I'm not, I wasn't like a big Nirvana fan or Black Eyed Peas or any of. I was kind of like, I guess, playing my own music at that point, not listening to the radio as much. I guess is what it really boils down to. Yeah, we're all neighbors. That's right, Mr. Rogers. I mean, Mr. Cruz. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everybody goes through things. Everybody has good times, bad times, ups and downs. And I mean, I'll just a little story. I mean, I bring it up only because 10 years ago on this very night, about an hour, a little bit more than an hour from right now, I got a phone call when I was working in industry and I was over safety that there was an accident at our facility and a young man, about 33 years old, got hurt very badly. They didn't think he was going to make it. He did make it, but he's severely disabled now in 10 years later. And I can't shake that ever. You get to know people and their families, and, it really is sad. And so I've kind of dedicated my life uh, toward safety and human behavior, and that I've been working on that since 2015 as a result of that. And that's why I travel. I teach this globally. And, if I can help one person, not get injured, or whether it's themselves or their family or anybody, then I feel like I've done something. So, it's kind of a interesting reflection for me because I was putting this together for tonight, and then all of a sudden I looked at the date and it hit me. Hey, I know exactly what I was doing 10 years ago. So we all have a lot to be thankful for, and we have to always recognize that there's people that have it worse than we do, um, and and we have sometimes people who have it better than we do, like maybe Chance. I don't know, Chance. Oh well, yeah. So anybody who might not have been on earlier. So our contest, this was the prize. It is a custom-made version of That Thing You Do soundtrack. Uh, that I got several of them made through a company that does that, and um, and so that's what Chance won. Thanks, John. How are you doing? So so it was fun. I enjoyed it. First rule of retirement from this point on: never, ever, under any circumstances, get on a ladder again. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're right. And I will tell you, Elliot, it's ironic you say that. because I would probably guess that the most feedback I ever get from people at work or people that I've trained in this is them saying, I didn't go use that ladder I would have normally used to put up Christmas lights or to work in the trees or whatever because of the things that I learned in this behavior thing. I was always so complacent about using it because nothing ever happened, kind of thing. So those are wise words, Elliot. But the thing about ladders too is that people can get an ego about getting on them and getting overconfident, and just reach just a little bit more over instead of staying, in the ladder's width. That they can cause serious harm to themselves. So it's ironic you bring that up because I reflected on the fact that ladders are probably one of the things that most people tell me they've avoided accidents on through behavior training. And so you've learned it. The 45s on the soundtrack is worth 100. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was never released on vinyl. The 45 was released limited, and the CD was released. How did I like it when Michael Fremer made fun of me? Okay. Um, okay. Maybe you got to help me here. Maybe I missed when Michael Fremer made fun of me. I know that he made some comments on my page when the MoFi thing hit about don't spread rumors and people's livelihoods are at stake and that kind of thing. But other than that, I don't know it. So if he did it in a video, I never saw it. I don't know. So I don't know. And was it back? I think it was the Dizzy video. Really? Okay. I didn't know I was one of the targets of the Dizzy video. Maybe I was by implication, but if he overtly said it, I don't know. I didn't. I didn't find that one that funny generally, but anyway, I'll have to watch it again, I guess. Yeah, he's not a bad guy. He's thanks. Take care, Mr. Stock. Yeah, but remember, he was a comedian. Yes, he was a comedian, and he can do You know what's funny? He has that thing at the beginning of his videos where his mother's, "You got more records. I know you got more records." I'm being straight honest. That sounds exactly like my mother. She was exactly the same way. Same kind of voice, same kind of attitude. Couldn't be any more a mimic of it. And so I don't know. Michael had a tough time when the MoFi thing happened. Okay, I get it. That makes sense, given his relationships and all. If he made fun of me, then hey, I probably deserved it. It's he was making. I think he did. It was Mazzy. I remember, but it's okay either way. I don't. It's no skin off my nose. Um, uh, you know, yeah, yeah. So the problem with covers is your lighting, right? The shininess of your lighting. That's what I'm always fighting when I do these. Always fighting, the light. But it's okay. It's okay. Chance is going to say it's okay. It's okay. That I'll be careful with that album, David. I will. I will. Don't worry. I'll have to put it in an acoustic sounds box for you so that it's well protected or a whiplash. Make sure it's treating you well. He grates on my. He does know a lot about it. You're right. I had a friend, Armando Cordoso, who runs Vintage Mio Records, and he was actually at his house last week and spent some time. We did a Facebook live stream for about 10 minutes. I know he did some other video, but hasn't released it yet. But he said, just a genuine guy, just and I'm sure he is. I'm sure, and I honestly feel bad that, when that whole thing kind of happened, it seemed like maybe that he was on the outside looking into this thing a bit, but I also said that, if you're a journalist, you got to be a hard hitting journalist. One of the problems in journalism anymore is people aren't doing journalism. They're not, how we could go through some of the things we've gone through and not be more uh, sober about looking at what really happened, especially like with the pandemic. I mean, I think back to the way the media was in the 60s and 70s, they'd be going after that like crazy. I mean, they just, now it's agenda driven. Everything's agenda driven. So, I would have really, I guess if I had the access he had, I guess maybe I would have maybe tried to get that story or try to, scoop that story at some point because he's got to have a lot more context than Mike had, Esposito, no doubt. You know, independent media is your friend. Yeah, you're right. I mean, everybody's got an agenda. Um, you know, it's there's no doubt, no doubt. Not going to go back to find out. Okay, well, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't watch that video, that Dizzy video, very much. And it's okay. Hey, everybody. I've been thinking about doing a video about the boxes that Chad uses for UHQRs. And I know that's a tug on Mazzy, but it's kind of like, it's a unique thing. I probably try to keep them separate. It looks like a little book area. It's kind of a little different. So hey, they stand out. There's no doubt about that. Uh, Thanks, concert buddy. I will connect with you later, and you will get this shipped to you. And congratulations. Yeah, breaking points. Okay, I'll have to look that up. Breaking points. I know what that is. Okay, I do know what that is. Okay, had to connect the dots. Yeah, so that's good. Well, gang, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go and get some get some tea to drink and relax a bit. And I'm going to wrap up Chance's gift, get it in the mail, hopefully tomorrow. And I thank you all again. I mean, I really do appreciate you hanging out. I appreciate your time. You guys have been very supportive, and I look forward to what we can do this coming year. And again, as I've always said, if you have any ideas or things you'd like me to look at, it's David at safeandsoundtexas.com, Texas spelled out. David at safeandsoundtexas.com. And for now, I say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the team. And you all stay safe and take care. Talk to you later. Bye, everybody.